At the start of the film, we see a baby sobbing in a crib, blood splashed across the walls, and a dead woman on the floor. Aaron, a police officer, gets a call from his friend Luke's father saying Luke, his wife, and their son have been murdered. The man drives back to his drought-stricken hometown that hasn't seen real rain in almost a year. At the funeral, he runs into his old classmate Gretchen. She has a son of her own now. She asks if he'd kept in touch with Luke. The man says he never seemed to find the time. Everyone assumes Luke killed his family and then took his own life. Aaron heads to the river where he used to swim with friends. Now, it's just a dry bed. He remembers cops pulling the body of his friend Ellie from the water. He visits Luke's parents, who have taken in their surviving granddaughter after the horror. They think the drought might be to blame for everything. Their son had a farm, and with water problems, he may have borrowed money, failed to repay it, and paid with his family's lives. The parents ask Aaron to investigate, but he refuses. Luke's father asks him to at least look at the accounting. Then he suddenly says he always knew Aaron and Luke were lying. When Ellie drowned, he saw his son at the river, and they definitely weren't out hunting rabbits like they said. The old man believes that if they'd told the truth back then, none of this would be happening now. Aaron says he'll check the accounts and then leave right away. He remembers Luke jokingly dunking Ellie under the water in front of everyone. Aaron checks into a motel, where he runs into Ellie's father and brother. They threaten him, convinced he had a hand in her death. But after Luke's stupid roughhousing, Aaron led the girl away from the river. That night, men pound on his door, yelling that he's a killer. In the morning, he drives in his friend's house, studies the ledger, and meets local Sergeant Greg, who shows him where the bodies were found. Aaron stops by the school, where the kids planted a tree in memory of Luke's son Billy. Billy's mother Karen worked there as well. The principal says Karen told her she was upset with her husband. Later, the man meets Gretchen, says he'll be staying longer, and they plan to have dinner. Aaron remembers Ellie. In that memory, they reach an old tree together, and the girl drops her bracelet into a narrow rock crevice. He reaches in and fishes it out. They share a shy kiss, but suddenly, Ellie pushes him away. The men drive into Greg, and the cop explains that blue bullets were recovered at the crime scene, while the house itself held only red rounds from a different gun. The sergeant drives Aaron out to the dried-up lake where Luke ended his own life. It turns out that earlier that same day, he had helped Jamie, a nearby neighbor, go out shooting rabbits. When asked about his wife, he grumbled, "Bloody women," fired a shot, and then walked home, where the whole tragedy unfolded. Aaron decides to stay one more day. He has dinner with Gretchen at the motel, and she's sure Luke is the killer. He once courted her, but married someone else. She also believes Ellie wasn't murdered, that she took her own life because of her brutal father. A note from Aaron was found nearby, so people decided he was involved. They go up to his room, stand on the balcony, share a hug, and Gretchen leaves. Aaron remembers their group sitting around a fire while Ellie sang a lullaby she'd learned from her mother. Aaron returns Karen's library books, the errand Luke's mother asked of him. In one, he finds a newspaper clipping and a check with Grant written on it. The article even mentions Aaron himself. He and Greg question Ellie's brother. Maybe he planned to buy Luke's farm after his death. The brother doesn't know why Karen wrote his name, and he has an alibi for the day of the murders. Afterward, Aaron remembers school, how Luke and Ellie argued. Then she suddenly came to him and kissed him, and he gave her a note. Luke saw that. He steps out of the police station to find a dead calf lying on his car. The town is plastered with flyers bearing his photo and the word killer. He's furious, but the school principal, Scott, stops him and invites him over. Together, they scrub the car clean. The principal's wife was close to Karen. She plays Karen's last voicemail and breaks down in tears. Aaron remembers the moment he heard Ellie had died and how he ran for the riverbank. He eats dinner at the sergeant's home, and Greg's wife is about to give birth. She says her husband hasn't slept since finding the victims, and she asks Aaron not to use him. After Ellie's death, Luke climbed through Aaron's window in the night. He said they found a note and suspected Aaron. Aaron answers that he invited Ellie to the river, but she never came. His friend proposes a fake rabbit hunting alibi, and Aaron agrees. Adult Aaron breaks up a bar fight. It turns out Jamie started a rumor that Scott wanted to buy Luke's land. and Grant took that to mean Scott murdered the family. Aaron drives Jamie to a doctor to get stitched up and says a security camera shows Jamie visited him on the day of the murders, even though he lied about being home. The men admit they're lovers, but keep it secret. A dead calf had already been dumped on Aaron's doorstep right after Ellie's death. His father whisked him out of town back then, not even letting him stay for the funeral. As a grown man, he visits his friends' graves. Ellie's father sees him there and rants about the rabbit hunting alibi. Aaron starts to suspect the old man knows something. Years ago, that same father chased down the car as Aaron and his dad were leaving and caused a scene. Afterward, his dad asked if he was responsible. The boy said no, but he lied that he'd been with Luke. Aaron drives to Gretchen's place, where she's out on her land shooting rabbits. In her bag are blue shells. The man can't bring himself to kill an animal, while the woman does it without hesitation. At her house, he notices a school funding application. Karen had been working on that. Gretchen's son leaves for a sleepover, and the man and woman are alone. They flip through old photos and share a kiss. Gretchen gets a call from her son, and Aaron suddenly notices a picture of Luke holding her newborn after discharge from the hospital. She insists he is not the boy's father. At the motel, he spots the principal's wife, Sandra. She's searching for her husband. Maybe he stopped by the bar. Aaron remembers Scott mentioning a break-in at their apartment, after which Sandra was never herself. Scott himself appears and leads his wife away. Outside Aaron's door, Greg ambushes him. The father of Ellie claims Aaron attacked him at his daughter's grave. The sergeant asks why he keeps digging up the past. Aaron is sure the two cases are connected. Greg says he should leave town. Afterward, Aaron, tight as a wire, screams under the shower. At dawn, he goes to Gretchen's, and while she sleeps, he rummages through her papers and takes what he needs. He drives to Greg and explains that Grant isn't a name. It's about funding. Karen was looking for money for the school. She found something, showed her husband, and he handed her a news piece about Aaron so she'd ask him for help. Aaron suspects Scott is a gambler who's been stealing from the school. But there's a video showing the principal's car at the school when the murders happened. It hits Aaron. The principal usually rides his bicycle. Aaron and Greg head for the school. On the way, they call the company that issued the grant. The office says $70,000 were transferred to the account. Scott arrives at work, and his secretary says the grant representative phoned and urgently needs him to call back. The man hurries out, saying he forgot his laptop at home. Outside, he notices a police car pulling up. Aaron and Greg enter the school and learn the man has left. Meanwhile, he didn't pick up his daughter after classes. They search the school shed and find a blue bullet. The men run into the nearby woods. They spot the principal holding a fuel can. He strikes a lighter and pours liquid onto the ground around him. Greg lowers his gun. Aaron reminds him about the drought. If he ignites that fuel, the forest will go up. Right next door is the school, full of kids, including his own daughter. Everyone will burn alive. Scott says he did everything for his family. He brought them here to keep them safe, but they found him and came for the money. They forced him to nail his daughter to the wall with a nail gun and pulled a knife. Then he asked that they tell his wife he never meant to kill Billy, and he sets himself on fire. That day, he lay in wait for Luke on the road near the dry lake and asked for a lift. While Luke hoisted the principal's bicycle into the trunk, Scott struck him on the head. Luke staggered and tried to run, but Scott shot him. After that, he went to the family home and killed Karen when she opened the door. Billy saw the principal. The boy panicked, ran to his room, and hid in the closet. The killer found him there. Then he looked at the wailing baby and left. Now he punishes himself, burning in the flames. Greg and Aaron try to put him out. Aaron comes to in the hospital. His hands are badly burned. In the next room lies Greg, with his wife at his bedside. Aaron expects reproach, but the woman tells him he did well. He saved the town and didn't let the school burn. She's sure her husband will pull through. The man asks about Scott. It turns out he's alive but burned beyond recognition, and they transferred him to Melbourne. Luke's parents arrive and thank Aaron sincerely for clearing their son's name. Leaving the hospital, Aaron checks out of the motel. Gretchen is waiting for him outside. She says Luke loved Karen, and she herself meant nothing to him. She admits she saw Ellie walking toward the river, but didn't stop her, and instead left with Luke. As a final stop, Aaron goes to the tree crevice where he once kissed Ellie. He tucks a little handmade bouquet of dried grasses inside. And then, he suddenly spots a backpack deep in the hollow. Inside are the girl's clothes, her papers and cash, and also a diary. Apparently, Ellie had planned to run away. She came to the river and hid the backpack. She saw a boy swimming but didn't go to him. Adult Aaron reads her diary. It says her father called her by her runaway mother's name and beat her badly, and now it was her turn to leave, even though he swore to hunt down and kill the traitor mother. That day, the father caught up and drowned his daughter. But does the old man, losing his memory, remember that now? Aaron weeps on the bank of the dried river, picturing the girl's final minutes. This is the end of the film. Thank you all for watching this video to the end. Give this video a like. Write in the comments what you think about this film, and see you in new videos.